The sandworm's roar when it swallows the spice harvester is not a sound effect. Sound editor Mark Mangini placed a microphone inside his own mouth to create it. These are 20 hidden details you completely missed in Dune. Number 20. The still suits looked like sleek costume design. They were actually engineered to function in real desert heat. Co-designer Bob Morgan built approximately 250 bespoke suits in Budapest, each cast to the individual actor's body by Ironhead Studio sculptor Jose Fernandez. Costume designer Jacqueline West confirmed the suits were layered with acrylic fiber and porous cotton that genuinely wicked sweat during the Jordan shoots. West told The Hollywood Reporter that she initially refused the project, saying she did not do science fiction. Look at the elbows and knees when characters move across Arrakis. The fabric visibly compresses at the joints because each suit was molded directly to the performer's body. The suits are the first hint that everything in this film was physically built. Number 19. The flowing Celadon wardrobe looks beautifully simple. The reason it feels that way is a strict rule costume designer Jacqueline West imposed on the entire production. West told the Costume Designers Guild that buttons and zippers did not survive into this version of the future. Every closure in the film was replaced with rare earth magnets that click shut seamlessly from bottom to top. West had the same magnetic shirt made for Denis Villeneuve, Timothée Chalamet, and Jason Momoa as personal gifts. Look at the collar and cuff lines during the training and dinner scenes on Celadon. No fastener is visible anywhere on any garment in any frame. What reads as elegant minimalism is actually a hidden philosophical system built into every piece of clothing worn on screen. Number 18. Paul's Arrakis bedroom appears to be decorated with abstract architectural details. The mural on the wall behind him is a deliberate theological message. Production designer Patrice Vermette confirmed he designed a sandworm with the sun emerging from its mouth, specifically to frame the creature as a deity figure. Vermette told Pushing Pixels this was intentional foreshadowing of the Fremen religion that drives the second film. Villeneuve approved the design during pre-production and placed it in scenes where Paul is alone with his thoughts. Pause on the wall during Paul's quiet bedroom scenes on Arrakis. The worm fresco appears directly over his shoulder during moments of uncertainty and reflection. Knowing the painting is a deity portrait, every scene in that room now reads as a moment of unconscious prophecy. Number 17. The Harkonnen harvester hovering over the spice fields reads as a standard industrial machine. The shape was a biological decision. Patrice Vermette confirmed to BBC Science Focus that it was modeled on a tick feeding on its host as part of a deliberate visual language running through every Harkonnen vehicle. Co-designer Bob Morgan extended the same insect iconography to Harkonnen armor, built with the spidery, bony qualities of H.R. Giger's work. Look at the harvester from below during the worm attack sequence. Count the mechanical legs and follow the central mining tube toward the ground. The Harkonnen machines are not industrial, they are predators. And the architecture of their throne room extends that same parasitic logic from steel into stone. Number 16. The Baron's cavernous throne room with its cascading stone terraces looks like pure science fiction. Patrice Vermette confirmed in the Architect's newspaper that the space was directly inspired by the interior atrium of the Hyatt Regency in San Francisco, designed by architect John Portman. Vermette combined that cascading structure with ancient Mesopotamian ziggurats and Soviet-era brutalism. As the Baron rises toward the ceiling on suspensors, look at the concentric stone ribbing running down the chamber walls. Those curves are a direct translation of a 1970s American hotel lobby. The film's most alien space was drawn from a building millions of viewers have walked through, and the character rising through that space hides a physical reality far stranger than anything the architecture suggests. Number 15. The Dragonfly aircraft feel like flawless digital animation. Two of them were physically built. Patrice Vermette confirmed that British firm BGI Supplies constructed two full-size ornithopter hulls, each weighing approximately 11 tons. For interior cockpit scenes, VFX supervisor Paul Lambert mounted an ornithopter buck on a gimbal atop the tallest hill outside Budapest, surrounding it with a 25-foot sand-colored ramp called the dog collar to bounce natural sunlight directly into the cabin. Watch the light on Timothée Chalamet's and Oscar Isaac's faces during the Spice Harvester flight. That warm, bottom-up golden glow is real Hungarian sunlight reflected off painted plywood, not a studio light. The production built real machines on real hills because no artificial fixture could replicate what the sun does for free. Number 14. The organic warmth of the desert photography looks like outstanding location cinematography. Cinematographer Greg Fraser manufactured it in a laboratory after filming. Fraser shot digitally on the Arri Alexa LF, then worked with colorist Dave Cole at Photochem to transfer the footage onto 35mm film stock and rescan it back to digital, embedding analog softness that no digital camera produces alone. Fraser confirmed in American Cinematographer that this process had not been attempted on a commercial feature at this scale before. Look at any bright highlight on Arrakis. The glowing sand edges and sky blowouts bloom with an organic quality instead of the hard digital cutoff the camera would normally produce. The look of Arrakis was built in post, and the color palette went even further than that. Number 13. The monochromatic gray-gold palette of Arrakis looks like honest desert photography. It is a mathematical construction. Fraser and colorist Dave Cole designed a custom LUT that stripped blue frequencies from the highlights, applied separate shadow grading, then merged both into a single planet-wide finishing look at Photochem. Fraser told Cinematography World that no Arrakis sky is blue, no rock is red, and no sand is golden in any frame. Look at any wide outdoor Arrakis shot. The sky appears white or pale gray in every single frame, never blue. The suffocating visual atmosphere was built at a color grading facility in Los Angeles long before the audience ever felt it, and what the VFX team did on set was equally unconventional. Number 12. Standard productions use blue or green screens for compositing. The Dune VFX team replaced every single one. VFX supervisor Paul Lambert substituted all standard screens with sand-colored panels on the Origo Studio's backlot in Budapest, so background plates would naturally match the skin tones and lighting of foreground actors without digital roto work. Lambert told befores and afters he proved the concept to skeptical crew members by simply inverting an iPhone photo of the set on the spot. In any studio shot Arrakis scene, look at the warmth on actors' skin against the sand behind them. They matched because they were always the same color. The production's practical approach extended underground as well, where the crew buried something extraordinary beneath the actual desert floor. Number 11. The Atreides' arrival on Arrakis is the only moment of music in the film that exists inside the world of the characters. Every other piece of music in Dune is score. This one is diegetic. The characters themselves can hear it. Denis Villeneuve told The Telegraph he woke in the night with a single word and ran to his first assistant director's office the next morning. The word was bagpipes. Composer Hans Zimmer assembled approximately 30 Edinburgh-based pipers for the recording. Listen during the Arrakis landing sequence. It is the only moment in the film where music exists inside the story. And Zimmer created it only after walking away from one of the most important creative partnerships of his career. Number 10. The score sounds like nothing Zimmer had composed before. Creating it required a professional break with one of the most celebrated directors in cinema when the schedules of Tenet and Dune overlapped. Zimmer chose Dune. He told The Playlist and the Real Blend podcast that Christopher Nolan's reaction to losing him was, in Zimmer's own words, not great. Ludwig Göransson scored Tenet. Zimmer won the Academy Award for Best Original Score for Dune. He also told The Hollywood Reporter he deliberately avoided watching David Lynch's 1984 adaptation before composing a single note. Listen to any cue that does not feel like a recognizable instrument. That choice came from a composer who started entirely fresh, and one of his instruments was built from hardware store plumbing. Number 9. The roaring surge of sound that drives every major cue in the Dune score is not an orchestra, it is a single human voice. Zimmer and Villeneuve agreed during early conversations that femininity was the emotional through line of the story. Vocalist Loire Kotler was commissioned to develop a rhythmic, breathy vocal technique that became the recurring pulse of the entire score. Zimmer also told Sound on Sound and Music Tech that he built new instruments for the production, including a version of an ancient Armenian instrument constructed from PVC pipes sourced at a hardware store, assembled by flautist Pedro Eustache. In Paul's dream sequence, listen for the layered female surge building beneath the visuals. That sound is Kotler. It appears every time Paul's destiny is on screen. Number 8. Lady Jessica's first command using the voice sounds unnaturally layered and inhuman. That was precision engineering, not a sound effect. Editor Joe Walker and sound editor Mark Mangini recorded 3 separate performers, including Marianne Faithfull, Jean Gilpin, and Ellen Dubin as ancestral echo voices, then deliberately offset each recording slightly out of sync with the on-screen mouth movements. Walker added a subtle image shake on top of the audio desync. During Jessica's command scene after the Gom Jabbar test, watch her lips and listen for the pulse of voices arriving just before and just after her movements. The voice is not in sync with her face by design. Marianne Faithfull, who passed away in 2025, appears uncredited in this sequence, making Dune one of her final screen contributions. Number 7. The calm narration explaining how to walk across sand without attracting sandworms sounds like an authoritative documentary voice. It belongs to the person who assembled every frame of the film. Editor Joe Walker recorded a placeholder narration for Paul's Arrakis film book scenes during the edit. Villeneuve liked it and kept it in the finished film, as Walker's credit for the voice is documented in the full cast list. Look at the tablet screens Paul studies during the desert preparation sequences. The instructions you hear about sandwalking come from the same person who decided what you see and in what order for the entire film. And the next reveal involves an actor who invented the most emotionally resonant moment entirely on his own. Number 6. Duke Leto's final scene looks solemnly composed. The choices that made it feel that way were not in the script. Oscar Isaac told Vanity Fair he brought 2 additions to Villeneuve before filming. The first was performing the scene without clothing, which Isaac described as a vulnerability and sacrifice analogy. The second was placing the bull's head in the background as a personal symbol of fate. Villeneuve accepted both without alteration. In the throne room sequence before Leto's final act, look directly over his shoulder. The bull's head is positioned to frame him as a sacrificial figure in every wide shot. The film's most recognized farewell was invented entirely by the actor who played it, and an equally significant character was rewritten before the film ever began shooting. Number 5. The desert ecologist Liet Kynes shelters Paul and Jessica in the deep desert. In Frank Herbert's novel and in David Lynch's 1984 adaptation, Kynes is male. Villeneuve rewrote the role for a woman before casting began. Sharon Duncan-Brewster confirmed in interviews with W Magazine and Vanity Fair that Villeneuve told her directly the cast needed more female voices. The gender change shifts the weight of Kynes' final moments. A Fremen woman sacrificing herself for the outsiders creates an entirely different mythological reading than the original novel provides. In the worm summoning sequence before Kynes' death, watch her lift the Christ knife. Villeneuve frames the gesture as a final offering, not a survival act. The most invisible change to the source material carries some of the film's heaviest meaning. Number 4. The Baron's enormous physical presence looks like digital enlargement. It is almost entirely practical. Makeup designer Donald Moat and prosthetic artists Eva von Bahr and Love Larson spent 7 months developing the transformation. Stellan Skarsgård wore a prosthetic suit with an internal hydration vest that pumped cold water from a portable refrigerating unit along his back to prevent overheating. The mud bath emergence was a dream Villeneuve had carried for years, specifically a villain rising from liquid like a hippopotamus. One full-body suit was destroyed when the team discovered it floated. In the mud bath sequence, look at the eyes and mouth. Those are Skarsgård's real expressions visible through the mass of the prosthetic, and the most spontaneous casting in the film was also its most physical. Number 3. Duncan Idaho arrives as a fully formed kinetic character. The casting happened on a mountainside over a satellite connection. Jason Momoa told Screen Rant he received a call from his agent while climbing at Sundance 2019 and was connected to Villeneuve via satellite from a hilltop. Villeneuve had assembled a full pitch book with costume references and character artwork and presented the entire visual world of Duncan, Idaho over FaceTime. Momoa told reporters he had never experienced a director pitching a role to him rather than the other way around. In Idaho's first combat sequence, watch the footwork and speed of each transition. That physicality was committed to from a mountaintop before a single frame of the character had been designed. Number 2. Dune looks like a film that reached audiences exactly as intended. The fight to keep it in theaters was a documented public conflict. When Warner Bros. Announced all 2021 releases would stream simultaneously on HBO Max, Villeneuve published an op-ed in Variety accusing AT&T of having hijacked one of the most respected studios in film history. He told Total Film watching Dune on television was like driving a speedboat in a bathtub. Warner Bros. Tied the green light for Part 2 to HBO Max streaming performance. The sequel was announced in October 2021, after figures confirmed audience demand. The film you watched was released under public protest by its own director on a platform he called inadequate for the experience it was built to create. Number 1. Paul Atreides' vulnerability looks specific and intentional. Denis Villeneuve confirmed to Total Film and USA Today it was autobiographical. Chalamet was his only candidate, with no backup choice at any stage. Villeneuve described Paul as a self-portrait, a nerdy outsider who defeats people twice his size, which he told Total Film was his personal revenge fantasy. Chalamet had previously auditioned for a role in Villeneuve's Prisoners in 2013, meaning the director had been watching him for nearly a decade. In the Gom Jabbar scene, watch the framing. Paul is deliberately shot to appear small and outmatched before his resolve appears. The casting and the camera angle make the same argument. The most powerful figure on Arrakis was designed to look exactly like he does not belong there. Dune looks like a film that arrived fully formed. Underneath that is a costume sealed with magnets, a planet built from a color formula, an ornithopter weighing 11 tons, and a lead cast as the director's self-portrait. Every single frame rewards a rewatch. Which hidden detail surprised you most? And what film should we open next?